Heritage Sports. We are here with a great episode on how Deion Sanders got to the University of Colorado. Fantastic interview that dropped yesterday. It's called Rundown with Rick. The athletic director's name for the University of Colorado is Rick George. He did a 30-minute interview on a wide range of topics, but the primary topic, the main topic that led the interview was the hire of Deion Sanders. Basically, going through the framework, how it started, what he had to do to get Coach to Boulder. It was a great insight because I tell people all the time the a hiring of a coach, whether basketball, football, baseball, doesn't involve an athletic director terminating the contract of a coach, unfortunately, and then waking up when the season's over and then going to get another coach. No, it's embedded within the season. So it's great for an athletic director to give light to that and words to that. So we're going to cover that. And at the end, I'm going to cover why Colorado is dominating the transfer portal, not just because of Coach Deion and the other coaches recruiting their butts off. It is including what they're providing. Other schools are doing it, but some schools are not. And, eventually some of the schools will catch up, but it's what's helping them get recruits up there to Boulder. All right, let's get straight to it. All right. He said he wrote down a short list, and I'm assuming this is when Carl Durrell got fired on October 2nd. So he said he wrote down a short list of coaches, and Deion Sanders was number one. All right. Carl Durrell goes 0-5. He decides he needs to make a change to try to galvanize the fan base going into next year. And his main goal was to have a coach in place before December 5th. And that's important, again, for the end of the video because December 5th, early December, that's when the portal opens, okay? So they needed a coach in place to try to be in place so they can get their team back up and running. So, again, at that point, that was October 2nd. Coach Prime discloses to the media and it, acknowledges, yes, Colorado has offered their head coaching job, and that was on November 28th. So theoretically, this process could have been from October 2nd to November 28th, all right? That's Carl Durrell's firing to Coach Prime acknowledging that the university had extended a formal offer for him to be the head coach. And as you know, he was going through the SWAC championship game against Jackson State going against Southern, and then they won the game, and then he immediately had the emergency meeting and then took the job at University of Colorado. Private jet, go Buffs. That was a great night to watch all of that unfold. But getting back to it, he started talking about his process. So that point, he reached out not only to the boosters and to the personnel people and the connections he's had throughout the years on different programs to not only vet Deion, but to see how he can get in contact with Coach Prime. So he said he got in contact with him. He had a phone call with Coach Prime that lasted approximately an hour. So I'm assuming that phone call happened in October. From there, he had to fly either to Jackson or to the DFW area where Coach Prime generally lives throughout most of the year. That's where his main base is. So he didn't specify, but he said he had a 3-hour meeting in Coach Prime's home. And there they talked about everything from expectations, who they were as a person, whether they could work with each other. And that apparently was enough for the AD and enough for Coach Prime. And at that point, he went back, got the authority, and issued an offer for Coach Prime to be the University of Colorado football head coach. So, again, just going back over that, he made a short list. He reached out to his network, back channels, got a phone call with Coach Prime to see, engaged his interest on whether he was interested. Apparently, he was interested. Then he decided to have a 3-hour meeting in person, and they had that 3-hour plus meeting in person. And from there, they decided to consummate the deal. And that's when he officially offered. Now, as Coach Prime said, they weren't the only schools that offered. So you got to imagine that something similar like this happened with the University of South Florida, which Coach Prime has admitted that's one of the schools. He said there were bigger schools. Coach Prime said there were bigger schools that came and offered more money. I would imagine that would be University of Cincinnati. I can't imagine it being anybody else. They won college football playoffs last year. They were there because of their defensive backs for the most part, and they were Under Armour school. I would think that's who he's talking about. It wouldn't surprise me. But he turned them down, and I'm curious, why did he turn them down? But besides that, he basically would always focus on the fit with the athletic director. Maybe he didn't have the right fit with the athletic director with the University of Cincinnati. Even though he said in a recent Pat McAfee interview, he wanted to live in Cincinnati full time. He wanted to play for the Reds and play for the Bengals. So he's very familiar with the city. And for whatever reason, I'm assuming that would have been ideal if he would have went there. But I'm assuming he did not go there because of the athletic director, that it wasn't the best fit for him. His best fit was for Rick George. And my goodness, as we went over the schedule this past week for Colorado, this upcoming fall schedule, he has a tall order ahead of him, and it is definitely going to be a challenge and something he's looking forward to. Okay, so throughout the interview, they then go on to talk about what has happened immediately after that. And I cannot wait to report more on this once the numbers are finalized. They're calling it the prime effect. It's the same thing that happened in Jackson, Mississippi. They're saying the region, in fact, got a 30 million kind of an impact on businesses and the local community. Now they want to see, they're estimating what the impact is in Boulder. And so far, this is out of the athletic director's mouth. He says the merch sales have gone through the roof. He had no idea. He thought the merch sales would go up, but he had no idea how much they would go up. He couldn't even quantify the number of how much stuff was flying off the shelves, whether that's the Coach Prime merch, the just regular Nike merch that Colorado has. He says it's going through the roof, and it's really been a boon, a business boom for Colorado. He also said the social media channels are through the roof, whether that's the Go Bus YouTube channels, the IG channels, the Twitter channels, the Twitter accounts for the football team. He says that the overall social media activity for most of the university is up since he's made that offer to Coach Prime. He says, again, he went to the transfer portal. He said that has gone better than any year he's ever been there. And that is a direct connection to Coach Sanders and his coaching staff. Not only bringing kids from Jackson State, but from all over the country, 4-star, 5-star recruits. And he just was taken aback because he just didn't expect this. He said there was an expectation, and it's been exceeded as far as sales, as far as transfers coming to the university, and the social media uptick. He believes that his university is the most talked about university in the last month, and that's bar none. That's the completely NCAA wide. So I thought that was really, really impressive the way he put light to that. And I'm giving you the end, as I was saying, the reason why the portal is so successful. He was saying better than any other year has been Coach Prime and the advancement of their NILs. I want to give you a quick breakdown on the NILs and what universities are doing. More than University of Colorado doing it, Nebraska's doing it. I'm sure a lot of different universities like Miami and stuff like that are doing it. It's called the NIL Collective. Basically, they call it, they've termed it Buff for Life, but it's an NIL collective. This is the organization that's been set up where things go directly to Colorado athletes. So whether you're a baseball player, a basketball player, a softball player, a volleyball player, which they have a great volleyball team, I found that out, or a football team, they are not only making the connections for the kids with local businesses, they're giving local businesses a opportunity to feature the athletes there in the community. But the thing is, you can be anybody and apply and get this kind of money. This is like a floor, and this is what other schools are doing. So instead of kids going out and getting NIL money or going out and getting that cash handshake from a booster, they can go to the collective and say, hey, I need XYZ. We're going to set you up with a sponsor, and they're going to make them comfortable. I mean, that's just what it is. And that's just such a better talking point than having a kid say, hey, I'm poor, or I'm gonna be struggling while I'm out there and I'm gonna be so many miles away from my family. Well, you're gonna have to try to get an NIL, or you're gonna have to talk to some seedy booster in the alley somewhere. They have legitimized the process, so that's just not even a consideration. Hey, I need to help my mom with the light bill. We got you. Those are the things that not only this university is doing, but others are doing, and that's just making a big difference in the type of kids they attract. Now the schools are going to catch up. They're going to have all these NIL collectives everywhere, but for right now, the combination of Coach Sanders, his coaching staff, plus this collective is really making them stand out. So we may see a change in record just like that. I don't think they're going to go 1-11, and they may actually do better than what a realistic expectation is of them. So really excited to see what they're going to do in the fall, and we're going to be right here reporting on it. It's been great. Thank y'all so much for leaving more comments. Please keep commenting and liking and subscribing. Thank y'all so much. Heritage Sports.